The coolest thing about eternity to me is not that it never ends. I mean, that's really cool too. The concept that something would never end, that's pretty nice and exciting experience or exciting idea. But that doesn't really unlock that much for me. And it's also been given to me for a long time. You know, you think I was raised Catholic, and the concept of heaven is the idea that you step into an eternal, pleasurable or happy or content existence of perfection. Now, this to me had always rang true, and then at the same time was very confusing because I couldn't make sense of something about it. And what I realized eventually was that the idea of eternity doesn't have an end, but even more excitingly, doesn't have a beginning. You can't start something that is eternal. Eternal means that it's always been and always will be. So if you're going to be experiencing heaven or hell or whatever for an eternity, then you must be experiencing it right now, whatever that is. So that kind of points back to the question of what is. If future and past you can't experience except as an idea in the moment. So if I think about the future right now, I can think about it, but it's still right now. And I can think about the past, looking in different directions, doesn't matter though. Thinking about the past, but it's still this moment right now. So the only thing that exists, that has no beginning and has no end, is right now. The reason why it exists with no beginning is because anything that would be considered a beginning is a concept or a construct in your mind right now. It doesn't actually exist right now. Anything that you might think of as future is also a construct. So what has no beginning and no end and indefinitely exists? This moment, really, you might say. There's lots of names for you. So this moment now has no beginning and has no end, and it definitely exists and is, because you are experiencing it. You're experiencing this video, you're experiencing my voice. All of these things are proof that you are to you, or at least evidence that you are, let's say. Anything that you experience requires an experiencer, and you are the one experiencing. So you are the experiencer. Now, in that regard, you're also the experience itself, because this is sort of like a dream. In that, think of it this way. Your senses take in information. This is the story behind your senses. All right, this is like the whatever story. Translates into messages, say like some are electrical, some are chemical, and then they send to your brain. Your brain then takes all of the sensory input that it has, and it projects what it thinks is going on in the world around you out here. So where you're looking now, this whole world around you is actually projected within your mind, and it's your mind's best guess at what's happening outside of itself. So though it may look like you're interacting with stuff directly all the time, like an orange, for example, I'm actually only interacting with my experience of the orange, my visual cues of the orange, my physical touch, the way it smells. These all lead me to the understanding that this is an orange, the experience that this is an orange. But really, I don't know that while I'm holding this orange here, that outside of my projection of this orange and of me and this whole world inside my brain, outside of that, I don't even know that there is an orange, because I can't experience anything out here. I can only experience what is projected in my mind as my mind's best guess of what is out here. So, this moment you experience directly. Only this moment. The contents of this moment change, go back and forth all over the place here. So, I think the coolest part about eternity is that the concept unlocks not that there's some future state of happiness waiting for you necessarily. Of course there is. Of course that's true. I mean, as true as it can be, you can never verify it. But it's not, it's a great concept, as in it will help you relax to realize that good things do happen to you increasingly, better things happen to you. But it's not so much that there's some good thing happening in the future that I'll step into an experience that will eventually never end, and if I time it right and I do it right and I really rock at my life here, then when I step into it, it'll be an everlasting beauty and awesomeness. And that there's a possibility that I could then also step into in that moment, if I don't rock and do things great or whatever, then I would step into an eternal, uncomfortable experience. But really the only eternity is this moment. So heaven and hell are in this moment right now, because this moment does not begin or end, it just is always. So the beautiful thing about eternity, I think, is that it unlocks that whatever is eternal right now, in this experience, right now. And you may have distractions taking you away from it. Your mind may be talking to you at 100 miles a minute. You may find that you can't grasp it logically. But all of those things will change, because there was a time before which, when you were a child, before you had all of these beliefs, before you had all these constructs about how the world works, where you still existed, before your beliefs. And I don't know if you remember, but I remember being pretty happy, actually, in my existence without these beliefs. So beliefs, the possibility of stepping into forever, take away from you the absolute certainty that you are forever.